Arctic Circle, 11:47 p.m. Total darkness, freezing winds, -40 degrees. USS Zumwalt and 3 Arleigh Burke destroyers cut through Denmark Strait. Ice sheets scraping hulls, radar domes sweeping the black sky. GELM 2500, turbines roaring against Arctic cold. Above them, B-2 Spirits and F-35 Lightnings, 2 moving invisible through polar night. Then the largest island on Earth appeared through the storm. Greenland. American LCACs rising from destroyer decks, air cushions screaming over frozen water. Armored vehicles loaded, Marines in white-gray Arctic gear. Destination, Thule Air Base, the crown jewel of Arctic control. The world didn't know, not yet, but within 3 hours they would. Denmark would activate its entire military. Russia would scramble strategic bombers. China would deploy icebreakers north. NATO would hold emergency sessions. The UN Security Council would convene. Because America just invaded Greenland. No warning, no negotiation, no declaration, total surprise. And what happened in the next 6 hours changed Arctic power balance forever. This is that story. Greenland, 836,000 square miles. Largest island on Earth, 80% covered in ice. Officially Danish territory. Population, 56,000. Mostly Inuit. Strategic value, incalculable. Thule Air Base, northernmost U.S. military installation, 750 miles from North Pole. Early warning radars tracking Russian missiles across polar cap. Space surveillance monitoring satellites. Ballistic missile detection systems. Critical Arctic operations hub. But America didn't control Greenland. Denmark did. And Denmark's permission could be revoked anytime. Treaty could be canceled. Base access could be denied. Strategic planners in Washington saw the problem. Arctic ice melting, new shipping lanes opening, resources worth $1 trillion under the ice, rare earth minerals, oil deposits, natural gas fields, China sending research vessels, Russia building military bases, climate change transforming frozen wasteland into contested territory, and America's Arctic presence depended on Danish approval. At 3 a.m. Eastern Time, U.S. Strategic Command made the decision. National Security Council, unanimous, President authorized. Greenland too valuable, Arctic too important. Russian expansion threatening northern approaches. Chinese presence increasing. Resources critical for future technology. Military positioning essential for continental defense. America needed permanent control. Not permission, not leases. Control. Operation Arctic Shield authorized. Secure Greenland. Establish American sovereignty. Make it irreversible before anyone could respond. Timeline, 6 hours. Total surprise. Bloodless occupation. At 9:30 p.m. local time, strike force departed from multiple locations simultaneously. USS Zumwalt, most advanced destroyer ever built. 3 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, USS John Finn, USS Michael Murphy, USS Daniel Inouye. Aegis combat systems, Tomahawk missiles, total air defense capability. USS Tripoli amphibious assault ship carrying 1,800 Marines. 22nd Marine Expeditional Unit, full combat equipment, Arctic warfare trained. USS America with F-35B, Lightning II fighters aboard, vertical takeoff capability, stealth technology, air superiority assured. 2 Virginia-class submarines, USS Illinois and USS Oregon, running silent beneath ice shelf, nuclear-powered, torpedo tubes loaded, guarding underwater approaches. 6 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers from Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri, each carrying 16 JDAM precision bombs, invisible to radar, unstoppable. 16 F-35A Lightnings IIs from Eielson Air Force Base, Alaska. 5th-generation fighters, sensor fusion, networked warfare capability, total force, 4,200 military personnel, 28 aircraft, 7 warships, 2 submarines, enough to secure entire island, enough to establish permanent presence, enough to make reversal impossible. At 10:45 p.m., fleet reached Denmark Strait. Ice everywhere. Icebergs floating. Temperatures -40. Wind speeds 60 knots. Visibility near zero. Blizzard conditions. Perfect cover. Nature hiding American approach. But American sensors saw everything. Infrared satellites tracking heat signatures through clouds. Synthetic aperture radar mapping terrain through storms. GPS guiding every vessel, every aircraft with meter precision. At 11:30 p.m., USS Mount Whitney command ship established coordination network, Blue Force tracker linking every unit, real-time data sharing, synchronized operations, single command structure. Admiral Rebecca Hayes, operation commander, watch screens. All units, this is Guardian Actual. Operation Arctic Shield is go. Execute Phase 1. Radio silence except emergency. Weapons tight unless fired upon. No international incidents. This is occupation, not invasion. Professional, clean, total. At 11:47 p.m., the invasion began. First wave, air superiority and electronic warfare. F-35B fighters launched from USS America. Thrust vectors pivoting. Vertical takeoff in Arctic conditions. Afterburners glowing orange against black sky. Their mission, suppress any potential resistance. Establish air dominance. But there was no resistance. Greenland had no military, no air force, no navy, no army. Denmark maintained small Coast Guard presence, 3 patrol boats, police forces, search and rescue helicopters, scientific research stations, no combat capability whatsoever, which made the invasion bloodless, but no less real, no less illegal under international law. EA-18G Growlers activated electronic warfare pods, jamming Danish communications frequencies. Civilian cell towers still working. Military radios blocked. Radar systems spoofed with false returns. Denmark couldn't even call Copenhagen to report what was happening. Communications blackout absolute. At 11:52 p.m., 4 MV-22 Ospreys landed at Thule Air Base. Tilt rotors folding, ramps dropping, 60 Marines deployed, full combat gear, M4 carbines, night vision, Arctic camouflage, securing facilities. Perimeter control. American flags already flying at Thule, but now Marines controlled the gates, the runways, the radar installations, everything. Danish personnel watched, confused, shocked, unarmed, unable to resist. Base commander, Danish Air Force Colonel Lars Hansen, approached Marine captain. What is happening? This is Danish sovereign territory. You have no authorization for this action. Marine Captain James Rodriguez's response, professional but firm. Sir, this facility is now under exclusive U.S. military control. You and your personnel will be escorted to designated areas. Remain calm. Follow instructions. Do not resist. No one will be harmed. This is not negotiable. Colonel Hansen incredulous. This is an act of war against Denmark, against NATO ally. Captain Rodriguez, sir, those are political questions above my pay grade. My orders are secure this facility. Your cooperation ensures everyone's safety. Within 15 minutes, Thule Air Base was American-controlled. 230 Danish personnel detained, not arrested, detained, held for their safety. At 11:58 p.m., LCACs reached Greenland's eastern shore. Massive hovercraft riding over ice sheets. Ramps dropped onto frozen ground. JLTVs rolled onto ice. M1 Abrams tanks followed. Heavy equipment, construction vehicles, engineering gear. Everything needed for permanent presence. Temperatures so cold, diesel fuel gelling. Marines adding Arctic additives. Engines struggling, but American equipment designed for this. Tested in Alaska, proven in Norway exercises. This wasn't a raid. This wasn't temporary deployment. This was occupation, permanent, irreversible. By 12:15 a.m., CH-53K heavy lift helicopters arrived from USS Tripoli, carrying prefabricated shelters, radar panels, missile defense systems, mobile command centers, medical facilities, everything. Within 90 minutes, American installations appeared across the ice. Patriot PAC-3 batteries establishing air defense umbrella, NASAMS 2 systems providing overlapping coverage. M142 HIMARS launchers positioned on high ground. Greenland transforming from Danish territory into American fortress. At 12:30 a.m., C-17 Globemasters began landing at Thule, one every 8 minutes. Flying from Ramstein, Germany, from Joint Base McGuire, New Jersey, from Travis Air Force Base, California, bringing supplies, ammunition, fuel, personnel, equipment, medical supplies, food, water purification, generators, everything needed for sustained operations. Seabees unloaded modular habitats. Engineers established power grids. Communication specialists linked satellite networks. Intelligence teams set up monitoring stations. By 1 a.m., American presence was irreversible. No force on Earth could dislodge 1,800 Marines with air support and naval backup. Not without major war. At 1:15 a.m., the world started noticing. Commercial satellites from multiple nations detected unusual activity. Planet Labs imaging showed vessel movements. Maxar Technology satellites captured heat signatures. European Space Agency radar detected aircraft formations. Massive heat signatures where none should exist. Unprecedented aircraft movements in dead of Arctic night. Naval forces converging on Greenland from multiple directions. Social media exploded first. Before governments even knew, amateur satellite trackers posting anomalies. Flight tracking websites showing unusual military call signs. Marine families texting from Greenland. Something big happening. Can't say what. Love you. At 1:30 a.m., Denmark discovered the invasion. Not from their own forces in Greenland. Communication still jammed. Not from NATO. America hadn't informed allies. From CNN breaking news alert. Reporter monitoring military frequencies caught transmissions. Breaking, unconfirmed reports of major U.S. military activity in Greenland. Large-scale deployment detected. Danish government not commenting. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen woke to phone calls. Defense Minister demanding answers. Intelligence chiefs reporting complete communications. Blackout from Greenland. All Danish personnel unreachable. At 1:45 a.m., Denmark attempted contacting Thule Air Base. No response. Tried civilian frequencies in Nuuk, Greenland's capital. Some connections. Reports of American military everywhere. Helicopters, troops, vehicles. Electronic warfare still active on military frequencies. America controlling information flow. At 2 a.m., Copenhagen went to emergency session. Danish parliament convened in middle of night. Military mobilized. Iver Huitfeldt-class frigates ordered to sea from naval base. F-16 fighters placed on alert status. Reserves called up. But everyone in that room knew the reality. Denmark couldn't retake Greenland by force. Not against 4,200 American troops with air superiority, naval dominance, and strategic positioning. Danish military, 15,000 active personnel. America, 1.4 million. Danish defense budget, $5 billion. America, $850 billion. Math didn't work. Military confrontation was suicide. At 2:15 a.m., NATO headquarters in Brussels activated crisis protocols. Emergency meeting called. Secretary General woken. Every member nation alerted. American invasion of Allied territory. Article 4 consultations requested by Denmark. Unprecedented crisis. But Article 5 wasn't triggered because attacker was NATO member. Alliance facing internal crisis it never prepared for. France demanded answers. Germany condemned action. UK torn between Atlantic alliance and European solidarity. Poland quietly understood strategic logic. Baltic states nervous about precedent. If America could invade Allies' territory, what stopped Russia doing same? At 2:30 a.m., Russia detected the operation. Space surveillance tracking American movements. Military intelligence analyzing patterns. Strategic rocket forces monitoring for threat indicators. Moscow went to high alert. President briefed. Security Council emergency session. Northern Fleet mobilized. Two 160 Blackjack strategic bombers scrambled from Engels Air Base. Flying toward Arctic, not attacking, observing, showing presence. Two F-22 Raptors intercepted them 200 miles from Greenland. No weapons fired, no radar locks, just mutual recognition through encrypted channels. Russian pilot, American aircraft, we are on training flight, no hostile intent. American pilot, acknowledged, maintain course, you are being monitored. Both sides watching, both sides calculating, neither side wanting escalation. At 2:45 a.m., China responded. 3 icebreakers diverted north from research missions. Zhuilong, Zhuilong 2 and Tian'an, heading toward Arctic routes. Not intervention, statement. Beijing understood immediately. America just secured Arctic dominance permanently. China's Belt and Road Arctic ambitions now threatened. Northern sea routes potentially under American control. Access to resources restricted. Foreign Ministry issuing statement. China expresses concern over unilateral military actions in Arctic region. International law must be respected. Territorial integrity of all nations must be preserved. Translation. We're watching. We don't like this, but we won't fight over it. At 3 a.m., 4 hours and 13 minutes after invasion began, America controlled Greenland completely. 1,800 Marines securing key locations. Thule Air Base, Nuuk Capital, Kangerlussuaq Airport, Ilulissat Port. Every strategic point. Air defense is operational. Patriot batteries tracking airspace. NASAM systems providing coverage. F-35 circling overhead. Naval forces patrolling coasts. Destroyers establishing exclusion zones. Submarine barriers established underwater. Virginia-class subs monitoring approaches. No shots fired. No casualties. Zero resistance. Total occupation. At 3:15 a.m., White House issued statement, prepared days ago, delivered by press secretary from briefing room. U.S. military forces have secured critical infrastructure in Greenland to protect American strategic interests and ensure Arctic stability. This action was necessary due to emerging threats from hostile powers and changing geopolitical realities in polar region. We remain committed to allied partnerships while defending vital national security interests. We will work with international community to ensure smooth transition. Translation. Greenland is ours now. We're not giving it back. Deal with it. At 3:30 a.m., Denmark responded officially. Prime Minister's statement, voice shaking with anger. Denmark condemns this illegal invasion of sovereign Danish territory in strongest possible terms. We demand immediate withdrawal of all U.S. forces from Greenland. This unprovoked violation of international law will be brought before United Nations Security Council and International Court of Justice. We call on NATO allies to stand with us against this aggress. Strong words, diplomatic fury, no action. Because action meant war with America, and Denmark couldn't win that war. Nobody could. At 4 a.m., NATO held emergency video conference. All 31 member nations. Every ambassador demanding answers. America's NATO ambassador delivered prepared statement, unapologetic. Arctic security environment has fundamentally changed. Climate change has opened new vulnerabilities that didn't exist when current arrangements were made. Russian expansion threatens northern approaches to North America and Europe. Chinese presence increasing dramatically. Greenland's strategic position cannot remain under governance structure that lacks military capability to defend it against peer adversaries. This operation protects not just American interests, but entire alliance's northern flank. We invite Denmark to join us in strengthening Arctic defenses, rather than opposing inevitable strategic reality. Half the alliance didn't buy it. Condemned American unilateralism, violation of sovereignty, dangerous precedent. The other half quietly understood the logic. Russia building bases on Arctic islands, China declaring itself near Arctic nation, strategic competition intensifying. Someone had to control Greenland, better America than Russia or China. At 4:30 a.m., construction accelerated across Greenland. Abrams tanks positioned on ridgelines overlooking approaches. HIMARS launchers covering potential landing zones. Patriot batteries scanning for aircraft that would never come. Runway extensions beginning at Thule. New hangars under construction. Fuel storage facilities expanding. Barracks rising from permafrost. Within 72 hours, Thule would handle B-52 bombers. KC-46 refueling operations. Strategic reconnaissance. Permanent fighter squadron. At 5 a.m., USS Zumwalt's 155mm guns remained silent. Didn't need to fire a single round. Presence alone altered every equation. Advanced gun system ready. 155mm ammunition loaded. Range 83 nautical miles. Could hit any point on Greenland coast. But targets were political, not military. Virginia-class submarines patrolled beneath ice. Invisible to sonar. Deadly. Guarding underwater approaches. Torpedo tubes loaded. Tomahawk missiles ready. Greenland now had nuclear-powered security perimeter. At 5:30 a.m., Danish naval forces remained at sea, watching from distance. unable to approach. American destroyers tracking every movement with SPY-1 radar. One Iver Huitfeldt-class frigate attempted entering territorial waters. Symbolic gesture, showing flag. USS Arleigh Burke positioned between it and Greenland. No weapons locked, no threats issued, just presence, just positioning. Message clear, come closer and we engage. Danish frigate turned back. Captain reporting to Copenhagen. American destroyer blocked our approach, requested we withdraw. Superior force cannot proceed without initiating combat. Denmark blinked first. At 6 a.m., first sunrise broke over Greenland. Gray light revealing transformed landscape. American flags flying from every installation. Military vehicles positioned everywhere. Aircraft circling overhead. Marines patrolling streets of Nuuk. Greenlandic residents emerging from homes. Seeing occupation. Some angry, some confused, some pragmatic, many secretly relieved. Denmark neglected Greenland for decades. Maybe America would invest. The Arctic had new owner, and everyone knew it. Strategic impact was immediate and global. Russia now faced American military bases 1,500 miles closer to Moscow. Northern Fleet vulnerable to land-based missiles. Arctic shipping lanes under U.S. control. NORAD early warning extended. Northern approaches dominated by American air power. China's Arctic ambitions blocked completely. Belt and Road northern routes threatened. Polar Silk Road disrupted. Access to resources restricted. Research stations monitored. Icebreaker routes controlled. Europe divided deeply. Some nations condemned invasion as illegal. Others quietly relieved America, secured the region against Russia. NATO facing existential crisis about member attacking member. Denmark learned painful lesson about sovereignty and power. Sovereignty requires capability. Territory without defense isn't truly yours. Strategic assets attract powerful interests. International law means nothing without force to back it up. Denmark owned Greenland on paper, but couldn't defend it, couldn't develop it, couldn't compete with great powers wanting it, so America took it. Greenland's 56,000 residents faced new reality. American governance, U.S. laws, military presence everywhere, English becoming mandatory, dollar replacing krone, no referendum, no vote, accomplished fact first, democratic process later. At 8 a.m., construction battalions worked continuously, building permanent infrastructure, expanding facilities, establishing population support systems, schools being built, hospitals upgraded, roads constructed, ports expanded, all American funded, all American controlled, American civilian administrators arriving, FEMA personnel, State Department officials, Interior Department specialists, preparing governance transition. At 12 p.m., 12 hours after invasion began, Greenland was American territory in everything but name. International lawyers debating legality. UN Security Council scheduling emergency session. International court preparing jurisdiction arguments. Denmark filing complaints. But none of it mattered, not really. America controlled Greenland physically. 4,200 troops on ground. Air superiority established. Naval dominance complete. Missile defenses operational. Infrastructure expanding. Possession is 9/10 of the law. And America possessed Greenland absolutely. Within 2 weeks, referendum scheduled. Under American supervision. International observers invited. Democratic process followed, technically. Greenlandic citizens voting on 3 options. Return to Denmark. Independence. U.S. governance with territorial status. Results predetermined through incentives. Billions in American investment promised. Infrastructure development. Economic opportunities. Military protection. Healthcare improvements. Education funding. Vote held. Results: 73% in favor of U.S. territorial governance, 18% independence, 9% return to Denmark. Denmark protested. Called vote illegitimate, conducted under occupation, coerced through economic pressure, international community condemned, but took no action. Russia threatened, did nothing. China complained, continued trading. America kept Greenland permanently. 11:47 p.m., invasion begins. 6 a.m. invasion complete. 6 hours, 13 minutes. Total operation time. 0 casualties, 0 shots fired, 0 resistance, complete success. Strategic outcome. America secured Arctic dominance for next century. Russia lost northern buffer zone. China's Arctic ambitions blocked permanently. Denmark lost territory but kept NATO membership. EU divided but impotent. UN protested but ineffective. Greenland gained investment, infrastructure, protection, lost sovereignty forever. This is Operation Arctic Shield. Bloodless invasion, total occupation, permanent control, strategic masterstroke. The Arctic was wilderness. Now it's American territory. Ice remains. Cold continues. Aurora glows. But Greenland belongs to United States now. Forever. Never underestimate American strategic interests. Never assume territory is truly yours without capability to defend it. Never believe international law protects small nations from great powers, because 6 hours can change everything, and change it permanently. The math of power is simple. Denmark had sovereignty without strength. America had strength without sovereignty. Now America has both.